as you become more aware, you see that we are unaware. We are as a species just unaware of ourselves, our actions, and the things that we do all the time. And that's what's going to kill us.
The lack of self-awareness.
Self-awareness, the lack of self-awareness.
So, welcome back to What a Shit Show, straight from the heart of Saigon. We are at my corner bar, I always talk about. And yeah, this is my friend Wayne. We're gonna go into a lot of shit today, so pay attention so you don't miss anything.
Yeah.
The question is, do you not feel like we're stuck in a 5,000-year-old game of Monopoly?
Monopoly, right? Okay. I don't know how many people out there and play Monopoly. We were just asking this other Vietnamese kid, and they have a completely different name for Monopoly. But I guess the idea.
This regime doesn't want you to know what Monopoly is.
Yeah.
No, you don't mind that game. That game is not allowed.
No. I mean,
see, I'm leaving, so I won't be fucked. I don't know what they're gonna treat you like after I leave in the post online.
Well, I feel like what is the monopoly on fucking people's mind, attention and decision making? You know, because who owns that?
If you think about that, there is only like a certain. I mean, there's fucking infinite space in your brain if you think about it. But they're actually trying to occupy your real estate with certain beliefs. Because they show you the information they want you to see, right, so that you think what they want you to think. And if you think what they want you to think, then you believe what they want you to believe.
They use their rhetoric and propaganda to kind of direct what you think and how you view it.
I mean, this is actually, we're not being specific about who we're talking about here, but we're just talking about government in general. Okay. But this is actually super illegal to do in Vietnam.
What?
Yeah, you cannot speak against the communist government.
I actually am.
It's illegal.
I'm not against communism.
Neither am I. I think I've never felt more free, to be honest.
Yeah, I love it's not that I'm against the communist government. I'm for the people. So I guess I'm for the people. Same fact.
Yeah. Coconut delivery.
Yeah. Things that you would never get in the U.S. Beautiful things, bro. That's why I love Vietnam. I come back so often and so many times because of the freedoms that are reality. People believe they're free when they don't fucking leave 50 miles from their home or whatever you call it in kilometers, but they don't leave, but they'd never know outside of their bubble what is actually something that you want, something you desire, something that is substantially meaningful to you, that'll give you a feeling that you never had before, you know?
Like everybody's talking about like fucking America's corrupted, this corrupted, but like if you think about it, like every single like there's no other way to do it. Like the moment you get into power, like who do you want to be your judge if you get in trouble? You know, because you're gonna get in trouble because you're gonna do something that other people don't agree with. And then who do you want to be your judge? Like the guy that's on your side. You can buy, like that's the thing. If you're like with money comes a lot of fucking power and like a lot of freedom. Also.
That's what Superman said, right? With great power comes great responsibilities, right?
Yeah. But also you have to think about the fact that absolute power corrupts absolutely. And Jimi Hendrix actually said that when the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace. But everybody plays power games, if you think about it. Like even if somebody comes into the bar and like you tell them no, because you have certain rules that you want them to obey and they're trying not to do that. Like you don't want them to do that at your place. It's your place. And people think the same way when they're in different positions. There's so many different, that's all our societies built on hierarchies of positions of people who tell you what to do and etc.
Yeah.
The house has to operate the same way. Like the mother and father or whoever, whatever dynamic you're living, is like somebody has to be in charge of the shit. Somebody has to set the rules.
Yeah,
and they don't care if you don't like the rules.
That three-step thing of like having you have the authoritative figure, you have your group peers that influence you, and then you have your family that influence you. And of course, if you get one of the underlying being influenced by maybe a malicious or maybe someone who has not the best intent for you, they can influence you indirectly. They're influenced by influencing your family, or they influence your peer group in some fashion or some form. And of course, an authoritative figure basically has the power to tell you to do something beyond even your moral standards in many opportunities or many situations, because they supersede your family, they supersede your peers, and so in that state of mind, you're just acceptable to do whatever they say, and it's already been scientifically proved.
That's supposed to know,
right? They keep you safe. They're your protector,
as we see in times. I'm gonna bleep that out. As we see it in the flu times, like they don't always know, and sometimes they tell you that they know, and they even tell you that it's been studied and this is the way to do it. And then after everybody gets the job, they say, "Oh, actually, that wasn't the right thing to do." And then everybody's like, "Oh, you were the one that's supposed to know." And everybody that went against all these,
That
all
goes
these,
back. That goes back to that Monopoly game that you're talking about. And usually in this game, what most people don't have a real good strategy. And part of the strategy inside Monopoly is not only purchasing, right, but managing the risks. So if you fall on someone's square, how much is that going to cost you? So obviously the way to prevent that is to buy up everything. And that's why the game is called Monopoly. And so you minimize the risk by owning more things, or you minimize the risk by making sure that you don't land in that whole block,
and the only
right?
way you do that is by, and like, how does every single game of Monopoly end?
With the Monopoly.
No, it ends with flipping the fucking board. So how do we flip the board, Wayne?
Yeah. Why is it flipping board? Because of the anger?
No. You're flipping the board because nobody wants to restart the game because they're winning.
And so they get pissed off.
So you were losing, and you want to get,
And so you flip the board.
You can flip the board, and this,
Yeah. Yeah. W- We we got the inflation going on and everything, bro.
I can't even afford their own cigarettes.
That's just
Cheapest cigarettes on the planet, and people can't even afford their
kill.
cigarettes. I don't know if that speaks about the society.
That's freedom. That's freedom. Freedom to smoke, bro.
You want to show your face on camera, motherfucker?
He's like, yeah.
So the times are clearly tough, as we can see.
Crypto space, the board game.
It's a good way to lose all your money. Also.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have to lose for a certain amount of time to learn all the lessons. Because people will not learn on the lessons of others for a long time before they lose all the money.
Well, if you really think about it, okay, so like a monopoly represents kind of like this big beast of an animal, right? And as a big beast, you really have that power to move things immediately, right? But what happens over the long run is that the agility of the big beast subdues it,
Because
right?
other players enter the game from different angles, like the developers of OpenAI. All of a sudden, they have access to information, and now everybody's using their platforms.
More agile.
And now they are able to steer the narrative because, like, you ask questions and you think about free will, and like you think about it only on like what can you say, but like you can. The AI thinks about it in a sense of like what you can ask it, and then what it wants you to reply to you, and you take it as absolute, the most perfect knowledge there is, like, even though it's been proven that it lies. And only like if you really know the subject more than you should, are you able to say like if it's actually like telling the truth or a lie.
That's interesting you say that. So since the AI is programmed by us, and we are always trying to like seeking
Not us.
truth.
Somebody,
Somebody,
and then somebody has a narrative
right?
and a bias.
And that's also so. What is their truth?
Exactly.
And have they played? And so is AI still seeking truth, or is it seeking only
AI is not seeking anything. We are the ones seeking within the AI, and the AI gives us the truth that somebody else wants. Like at the end of the day, like you can get so much from it, but you never know like at which critical point you're getting the wrong information at the wrong time.
And so you get the double slit experiment, right? So we got all this information passing through the slits, and we get a chance to look at whatever information we decide, but it's actually every single bit of light that we will ever know and have to have known so far.
Yeah, and like it's not even like, and I'm not saying the bias or like the lack of information is like necessarily in like the societal and political like sphere of things, but like there's this people that were trying to like build a book about mushrooms, for example, like how to identify mushrooms, and they got AI to make the book, and then somebody that actually knew their stuff about mushrooms went and read that book and realized that was made by AI because it was absolute nonsense and it was actually dangerous for humans to fucking get guided by this because it was wrong. And so like,
so what did the guy prompted to say like crazy shit?
Used the wrong prompt, but they didn't have enough knowledge because they thought he just expected AI to know. And it doesn't know. And now somebody eats the wrong mushroom after reading this book, and who is it on? The AI or the developer? Obviously,
Yeah.
The
universe in itself just making decisions after seeing novel information.
So you're saying it was all predetermined, and the guy that ate the mushroom Someone in his family had to realize that it's probably better to check where you got your information from. Because
Uh,
he's not gonna able to go back and fix his mistake unless he survived the mushroom or whatever. But
yeah, it's a,
so it was predetermined for him to make a mistake so others could learn and make better choices.
possibly.
Awesome. So what's your argument on free will then? What do you think about
I mean, if you got a whole system of randomness, which it probably is not random. I mean, they've already we wouldn't have laws of nature, gravity. Well, debatable, but and all the other science that we have that give us the rules of physics if that was more, not probabilistic. And so we definitely live a probabilistic life. And so there's only so many probabilities that can happen in any situation. And so I'm sure guided for any direction, then it would be a lack of free will. You could only if you only have a certain set to choose from of probabilities, and you're more likely to choose any of one of these probabilities based off your past experiences, then you're so not free
you don't
will
be aware in the moment that you're
that it
actually
wasn't free will. Right. You would just think that it was your free will, but you're actually walking the path that had already been predetermined because other things have to react in that form to fulfill the law of nature.
I mean, so far only three major sciences said that it's definitely determined, and it was physics, cause and effect, neuroscience, the action potential, which is the signal that you send to actually do the action. You can see that there is a lag between you realizing the thought and the action potential actually starting before that. So even before you make a conscious decision that you're self-aware that you're making yourself, there is an action potential that starts in your nervous system to actually make you come up with that thought. And then biology and sorry, I forgot the term. But yeah, it's three major sciences are saying that it's determined, and people still like hang on to this because it does feel like we're self-aware and
Well,
that
I
we
mean,
make the choice ourselves.
if you
And
really,
letting go of that idea is very dangerous for society because then people can go out and do the most heinous shit ever and then be like, oh, well, it was determined for me to do that because I was exposed to the wrong things at the wrong time. And then that's a decision I had to make.
had to make, I think, yeah, if you,
So it's dangerous for society to believe in the lack of free will.
I think because we have already kind of like built the construct of it, that we live in a world that we have to like name things like gold and silver are only gold and silver because we name them gold and silver. Otherwise, they just would be a frequent frequencies and electrons bouncing around. You know what I mean? There's nothing to really name it. And so for us to try to name our free will, for us to try to categorize where we sit in this
But that's what we do.
material. Yeah, we have to.
Language is used to decipher reality. The moment we invented language, we very quickly replaced reality with language.
Right.
And then
Creating it.
people notice that and they use that again for in their own interest.
Right.
Everybody's a politician, everybody's self-interested.
Because they're trying to communicate.
Yeah, that's the thing. But first needs to be like, if we're on this side of the hill and I go over that side and the other side and I say there's somebody there and I need to go, I go back to you and I can communicate that I am actually telling, like I am telling the truth. I am using this communication. I'm using my speaking ability to communicate that there is danger on the other side and I'm actually telling the truth, which helps us. And that used to be the basis of information. The discovery of truth and passing it on, communicating it. But then people quickly realize that you don't have to do that, and you can lie.
Right. Say
And then you
something's
have
over
the
here.
invention of lying, just like in the movie.
I see. I see.
And people use it for self-interest. They say that big man from the sky said,
Right.
and it starts as
Because it's interesting too. Because if you start off with, if you're going to start off with this as being one of the first lies, you think about people. Well, think about it. If you think about the one like, obviously the other person believes in something higher than himself, and I can utilize that power. You know,
yeah, because everybody's trying to believe in something, and nobody would expect you to lie.
for something greater. It has to be truth because I feel it. Like you
Especially when you're
feel it.
passing on some good info, like the Ten Commandments or whatever. Like there's good. It wouldn't last for so long if there wasn't any good in it. There's
Yeah,
obviously some
yeah,
good,
yeah.
but also the people that invent the power are always in the best position. Like that's who rules the world. They don't pay any taxes. You know what I mean? It's like, I just at the end of the day, it's all in terms of everybody's self-interest, and that's
Mm.
politics. If you actually check what politics is the art of appealing to people's self-interest. They say if you
Yeah,
elect me,
yeah,
we're gonna do this, 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 and then you realize like
right,
Jones Plantation and shit.
right.
But you're still like they tell you before
Painting
you
that
pick,
picture,
and nothing changes, and then you get an illusion that you made a choice. Just like you get an illusion when you make a choice when you
right?
think you're self-aware and like you're making your own decisions.
Yeah, I mean,
It's all an illusion.
once you paint that picture, I mean, people want to visualize, and you don't know what's going to happen in the future. So that's the scariest thing. So you want to have something that you can move towards, and if you have a group that's peer pressuring you, and they're also under the same guide or same rhetoric or whatever you want to call it, they still going to be guided in that same direction. And then so then you got a whole bunch of people, and then you got that power to a place that you
That
want.
group thing comes in, and then you don't want to stand out by saying that this idea is stupid. You want to go with the group because you want to
Right.
be socially accepted, and so you go with the flow. Like Nazi Germany.
Yeah. At
You
that
don't want to.
point
You don't
too.
want everybody's with this. Like it's all for a good cause. It's for
Right.
Germany. Like you don't want to be the guy that's like, no, let's not do this shit.
They did really good on the
Even if it looks completely
they
wrong.
did the thing of utilizing authoritative figures to manipulate people's minds with rhetoric and propaganda, and I mean
But
it.
even that experiment with authority, when they tell people to shock people, and like
Right.
there is like a guy in charge who tells you
The
when to shock.
Milgram's experiment.
Yeah, and it's like you will listen if the guy tells you to shock, even if you see like the guy in absolute pain, and they tell you to turn it up even higher, and the guy is acting the whole time, he's not actually getting shocked. But you, just because somebody told you to do this against your own will like listen to authority if need be.
The same thing like I my first degree is actually in psychology, and I feel like being aware of some of these things in um, human behavior really makes you aware that humans can do things just like I could do things that I would be not normally my personality, or because an authoritative figure, or because a peer pressure has motivated me to move in a direction. But of course,
Or your own self-interest.
yeah, your
This is
own
more
self
rubbish job at
interest.
my time.
Yeah, what the fuck? I mean, I
I've
think
been there.
yeah, I think that we go through these like pictures because energy just flows through our mind. You may not act on these things, but the energy flows through sequences of probabilities, which allows you to choose from one probability than the next. So you are in this reality, not the other reality.
That's when rules come in. The
Fuck.
reason you don't go and do whatever the fuck you want on the street is because you realize there's consequences. And even though if you don't see them every day and you're like distance from the consequences, you know that eventually it will come down to violence if you like refuse to say to
You
like
may get
take
outed
the
from the group,
police example.
right? Or
You know,
yeah,
like
or
if
that.
they come and catch you and you try to resist arrest, you're gonna get your ass beaten. Sometimes even when you don't try to
Even when
resist
you
arrest.
try,
So
right?
so you realize there's consequences, which is why you stick in line, even though you don't want to. Like most people have intrusive thoughts every fucking day, but they
Right.
just don't act on them because they realize there's consequences. There's social consequences. There's societal
So
consequences.
stuff for your
There's
family,
personal freedom
right?
consequences. Money consequences. You can lose your job by doing some
All
shit.
culturally built. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
mean,
and that's
obviously
we
the
do need law and
restrictions.
order. It doesn't. We can't function without it. Like if we didn't have law and order here, and everybody just did whatever the fuck they want, then another country with law and order and a good army and everything that's working together
I
and
think what
is
one
gonna come in and just decimate it.
I feel like to prevent ourselves from being decimating ourselves. Because I feel like humans are their own worst enemies. Uh, we have to
And
come.
our own best friends.
That's friends, bro.
The paradox
Yeah,
continues.
shit. Yeah, we have to let ourselves become more aware.
We have to let ourselves get more aware. What does that even mean? It means you don't act on every thought that comes into your head because you realize that there is benefits to not acting on every thought that comes into your head. It's like
I'm gonna have my camera out.
everybody can probably relate to this example when your girlfriend says something, and then you have that beautiful opportunity to absolutely destroy her in that moment. And I always used to fall prey to this, and then you say that thing, and then she hates you for the rest of the day, where you could have just stopped yourself and not said that very easily. And that's a simple example of self-awareness, because like at the end of the day, your girl is not gonna like you more if you keep annoying her. Okay, back off that.
I don't have one, bro. Maybe I think all these ones is plugged. Awareness for
We're
myself.
doing a little try
I feel
out.
like it's survival. If you walk into the jungle as a caveman and you're looking, you are on. you're turned on. That's one of the reasons I love to come to Vietnam. I love come Ho Chi Minh. You're turned on by all the stimulation that happens. But I find that in the Western world, we become unturned on because we become focused on the black screen. And so we walk into environments, we never know what's going on. We could walk into an environment, a tiger could be sitting right on the table. We would not even look. We're not even looking around to see what's around us at all. Everyone is inside their own minds all the time. All the time. And I'm not saying I'm not guilty of it. I've done it. I've walked into places and be like, what's... But as you become more aware, you see that we are unaware. We are as a species just unaware of ourselves, our actions, and the things that we do all the time. And that's what's going to kill us.
The lack of self-awareness.
Self-awareness, the lack of self-awareness.
Some people actually complain that they are too self-aware, and it annoys them because they're too aware of things that happen. They would rather be more ignorant of things.
That
But
is.
nowadays, once you open
It's
your third
bliss.
eye to things, you cannot see. But
It is
ignorance is
bliss.
bliss.
It is bliss, bro. It is
Because I think
bliss.
some souls are destined to wake up early, and then some souls just never wake up. And then who's more right? Nobody really.
What is
Because
our instinct then?
they couldn't have answers to some of the problems they had, but neither could we. Like you get to like see all the bad in the world and you suffer unnecessarily for other people
Right.
in the
So it's
moment. But
better to
then
be blind
after you
in
experience
that
that
way
suffering, then you can come
and
back
not
to
to see it.
yourself. You can come back to yourself if you see somebody else suffering and be like, "Oh my God, my life is actually bliss. Like I have it easy, you know. Like thank God that I have it this way, you know,
Right.
and not that way." So they can reframe it in that sense. But like other people will be ignorant of the whole fact and just never even consider it in the first
Right.
place. So who's my like?
Which
Who's
one is
more
better, right? I mean, it's instinctual. I mean, I feel like our survival kind of like pushes us to try to look for a natural truth. Like you walk into an environment and there's a fucking edible berry there. That's a truth. That edible that berry is there. It's edible. You know it's not going to kill you. There's a truth in this part of it. Like knowing that location, that type of berry, that strain, and that its nourishment is inherent truth. And I think that we kind of lose that perspective of what is actually being true. Are we just painting pictures of illusions all the time for self-interest? And then the self-interest is not for societal self-interest, it's for your own one-time life self-interest. And then what the fuck?
It's a battle of perspectives all the time.
Yeah, we fucking fleeting little lives.
Back in the day, we used to burn witches on a stake, and then somebody realized that you're not supposed to do that. And everybody was afraid of the witches burning on the stake, and nobody was afraid of the people that were burning them on the stake.
You are, and I
You
feel.
said, like,
What about the wizards?
I don't know about the wizards.
It
Nobody's ever talking about the wizards.
was a way to get back at women, I think. What money? This is my money. You're so nice. Come on, you.
Making cash money as we just
Dongs, man.
that's all about. Right. So, well, the thing is, it's like we keep shifting the perspective, and we keep going from a battle of perspectives in like different religions first. Now we go into like within the country of like left and right, and then different ideas about different things, and it's a never-ending pattern, a never-ending battle of perspectives. So, and you just see it everywhere you look.
But it's probably good, because change your perspective in your life. If you can become aware of it and feel yourself in one perspective, and then change either your attitude or how you view the perspective, it could benefit you. And a lot of people get in Spain, in the U.S., they have a lot of depression, and one of the reasons why they fall under this perspective of less self-worth, and everyone's trying to be worth something in this life, as being the valuable, truly one-time events that they are. They are being told that they're just like everyone else. And so our experiences of being a unique individual is being subdued, is being repressed. And then we just need to have some awareness of that. And I think that it helps people live. I think people escape this darkness of it.
Obviously, social media plays a huge role in that thing where you feel like you're not living up to what the society wants you to live up to.
Yeah. The group too, right? The group think. Because like the people end up getting put in the groups. I don't know about AI. What the fuck?
But if you look at the people that actually most people look up to, is the ones that set their own rules. Is the people that are authentically themselves.
Outliers. Yeah, the edges.
Yeah, like Goggins. Nobody wants to do what Goggins does, but we all appreciate the fact that he does it, and like sometimes it motivates you to do some some things in your life.
And
Rogan does everything he wants to
yeah,
do,
that's it.
and then and we like him for that. Like everybody that we like does it their own way, and yet we look at them and we want to be like them.
Right.
You know, because
They're
you
on
want
the
to orbit.
edge.
You want to orbit the star just like the Earth orbits the biggest star, which is the sun. We talked about this before. You know, that cosmic perspective zoomed out, like
Like a
as above,
gravity.
as above, so below. It's like smaller things orbit bigger things
Yeah.
that they want to aspire to be like. One day it's gonna maybe clash into the sun and
Yeah,
just
that's how
completely become the sun
that
itself.
question and that gravity. You're like, what is gravity? Like we're sinking into like us create another space and time. I mean, because it is space time, and because they have such a uh, capacity for the thoughts and controlling this thought process of how we feel. They pull us with their gravity. I think they pull us into their space and time. That's that power of mind visualization, painting the picture, pulling people with propaganda, pulling people with emotional pull, pulling people with rhetoric, pulling people with
Authenticity.
whatever, authenticity, truth. You're right.
Truth is can be like the most truthful you can be is by being yourself. But then you have to figure out who you are,
Who you
and
are.
then also you realize that if you keep trying to analyze who you are, who you are. You become really self-obsessed, and like you're a different person every
But you're
single
still
day.
in the same thing. Who you are, giving yourself self worth. Like I think that's the whole thing. Like I am worth being who I am. I am worth being on this fucking planet. And most people don't feel that way. They don't feel that they are one of these people that are special, but they are. I mean, think about how many
Everybody's
sperm
literally
came to that egg.
everybody's a unique individual. There's
Yeah.
literally nobody that's the same.
What's the chances your mom had sex with your dad that day and created you? What the fuck? How did that happen? How many sperm your dad ejaculated into your
It's
mom?
absolutely unlikely as fuck,
So
and yet
unlikely.
it happened for every single person
Talking
here.
about probabilities,
Yeah,
man.
it's just
What the duck?
what in 1 in 400 trillion is the odds of being a human being.
What is the truth? What is the odds? What are the probabilities? Oh, thinking as a human, all the dust in the universe, you're probably less likely to be a diamond than a fucking human. You're more likely to be a diamond than a human.
That's exactly what the people selling diamonds want you to
Fuck
believe.
yeah.
What's up, Pete? How you doing? Everybody knows I am actually leaving on Friday. It's currently Wednesday, so we have 2 more days. So this was like one of the last opportunities to actually shoot this pod at Corner Bar, where it all started, and hopefully where it all finishes. I was thinking of a place that I would like to be in if the world was ending, and I think I would pick this spot. All the drink, all the drugs, all the fun, and all the beautiful females. And like-minded people, open-minded people. That's what you need. You need to find a place where you can have deep conversations with people, because only then will you like actually broaden your perspective. Like if someone doesn't listen to you and doesn't expand on the things you say, like you will not find more. You will just know already what you know. Or if you speak to someone that doesn't reply, and you're the only one talking, like you're not going to learn anything by just talking, unless like Abraham Lincoln. Yeah. Some people do actually. I'm gonna correct myself here. Some people actually do talk to people and then find more shit. Pete, leave the fucking. What did the camera do to you? Fucking sit on the cam next. What's going on? Okay.
Right. So I got a little story for you guys. I got to make it quick, right? So we're here, like you said, here in Saigon on Bui Bien Street. It's hot. This laptop might not even stay alive for us during this shot because it might overheat. So, but I got a tragic story. I got to tell you. And this story, I'll give you a little background. I'm from the U.S. and my mom, she was about 16 years old when she had me. So I grew up as an orphan. So I had a lot of changes that happened in my life very quickly. What's up, bro? How you doing? You all right? Yeah, we're just doing a little recording here. Yeah, hang on, bro. You want to have beers?
What can I get you? Can I get you a beer or something? Yeah, yeah.
We're training, huh? Yeah, okay, okay. So the story goes like this, right? So it's a story of PTSD, and yeah. So I've been living in this apartment for almost 5 years in Indianapolis, and I have been doing my own little side job. I've been doing kind of collecting things online, antiques and teaking, and so I was selling things. And one day I ended up coming across a really special coin, this penny S, and this S coin from the United States is supposed to be worth $100,000. So I go to my insurance company. I know to myself, I need to protect this somehow. So I go to an insurance company. I tell them I have these coins, I have these antiques. I need to file special insurance on my apartment at this point in time. Now, I'm in a small apartment, just to say, but the reason why I'm telling you this story about the insurance company is maybe a week or two after that, I got a break-in in my apartment, and they came through the back door of my apartment and notified the apartment complex. And I was like, oh man, someone broke into my apartment. And it just so happened these things I felt like was connected at the time. The maintenance man came over, checked the door, and said, "Ah, it's fine. It was just something that you must have left the door open." And so a week later comes by, and I get an eviction notice on my door. Now I've been living at this place for almost 5 years, to say, and I think to myself, this has got to be wrong. I mean, of course, I end up maybe letting 24 hours pass. I'm sleeping in the morning. So I get a knock on my door. It's a police officer, and I think to myself, "Wow, what the fuck? What's going on?" Really early in the morning, and he's like, "Oh, you know what I'm here for? You need to get up, get dressed. What stuff that you need to take with you?" In this moment, being in America, police are very violent, so I'm in like a terrified, almost panic state, but irrationally, So I grabbed whatever things that I have. He's like, "What do you need?" I was like, I need my school books. I was going to school at the time. And so I grabbed my school books and I end up leaving the facilities. And I leave the place, I leave my apartment, walk maybe like for another 2 or 3 hours, come back thinking to myself, this can't be right. During that time period, I'm thinking this can't be right. This is incorrect. There's something wrong about this situation. So I come back. I'm walking up to my apartment building, and the cop is coming out of the apartment building. He sees me carrying the things that he told me, you need to take your things with you. So I'm carrying these things, and instantly he tells me, stop, freeze, drop your bags. And I freeze and do not drop my bags. And instantly, the man comes over and starts wailing on me. And wailing is basically pummeling me, hitting me, violently. Another man comes out of the apartment complex, which ends up being one of the maintenance men. And inside of the van was two other men moving my things out of my apartment. They too begin to beat me. So I'm on the street being beat by these guys, right? Beating violently on the street, bro. Blood by the cops, by the maintenance men, by the movers. They're beating me on the fucking street. So during this time, I'm thinking to myself, I have the power. The officer has a gun. At the first moment, I can grab this weapon. I see it within my grasp. I feel myself go for this weapon, but instantly inside of me, I tell me, do not do this. And I stop. So these men continue to beat me, basically just beat me on the fucking ground bloody. Cops come over, finish. I mean, cops. The ambulance eventually comes. They say, this guy, he doesn't need any medical attention. I'm handcuffed by this point, sitting in the snow, bleeding blood. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Right. I'm saying to myself, what is this? What the fuck is going on? So these guys,
This is America.
these people pick me up, put me in the back of a car. They drive me to a strip mall. And at the strip mall, I sit for an hour. Then at the strip mall, a van pulls up and loads me into the van. And from this, they put me in jail. They put me in jail for maybe a month or so. And during this time, they say I missed my court appearance. They gave me a court appearance saying, because they had charged me with violent resisting arrest of the police and several other things at this moment,
You
right?
weren't resisting.
Well, of course, I was not resisting. I was just being beaten. And so at this point in time, I'm stuck in the jail. They eventually, they just dismiss all these charges. And I'm thinking during this time in jail, I'm thinking, oh my God, this is fucked up. I have all these bruises, my shoulders fucked up. And like, I've been really fucking traumatized by this whole experience. And so I'm like, I'm gonna go to a lawyer. It's like, I have to like defend myself in this way. Short story, to make the long story short, right? The long story short. So I come to this realization that in my past childhood, this is like a compound trauma that has happened. So when I was young, I had my very first fight. I'm 7 years old, and so I'm out. some kid hits me in the eye. I run home crying. I'm crying to my mom. The door is closed. We have like a little screen door, and she's like, "Oh, what happened?" I said, "Some kid hit me in the eye, hit me in the fucking eye." And she goes, "Did you hit him back?" And I go, "No." She goes, "Well, you can't come in. You can't come in until you go hit him back." And so at this
And so
moment,
now you're on a fucking side quest to go hit him so that you can actually enter back to the house.
and so that's it, brother.
So you have to get back whoever punched you in order to be able to come back home.
And then they'll come back home. And so this experience that I had with the cops beating me, and not being able to retaliate at that moment, obviously, because that would be resisting arrest, and not being able to retaliate legally because they basically have tried to confound it and make it so you cannot sue the government. But what I can do is tell them that the fucking story happened. And everyone knows in America that they beat the black people. This is a common thing. They act like it's not a common thing, and it hasn't been going on for 20, 30 years. But now we have cameras. Now we have people to record the shit. Now we have the things that have happened in the recent past that show you uh the way the people who are supposed to protect you do not protect you. And now I'm dealing with my life. I've been traveling for the last decade. I'm a nomad now, and I never thought to myself
Is
that
that
this
when?
is the reason started. It
That's
started
when.
from this.
Is that when it started?
It started from this. I was beaten from this point in
Because
time,
you couldn't come
and
back.
I could not come back home. So I've never had a home in that sense. And so this factor has still to this day influenced me. Yeah, so it's like I I've been on this quest, as a man of life, as a black man, being aware of the way the world views me and becoming myself in reality, because no matter what people think of you and how they want to place their values, place their expectations on you, you are the special flower that you are. You are the special fucking butterfly that has to go into its cocoon, that has to develop, and no one knows what's coming out the other side except you. Except you. So
Well, the truth is that even if you were fucking blue and everybody hated the color blue, you could still become the best version of blue there is
there,
to
there
become.
is, bro. It is, Yeah.
Until people want to be like the blue people.
We want to be the blue people.
Because
Yeah.
the blue people have it together.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that whole gray. I'm trying to stay a gray. I think that's probably the best alien to be is a gray. Yeah.
The best alien to
Yeah,
be
the
is good.
base is a gray because you're in the grays. You understand the middles of this big perspective and what did they call that? From one end, one point
The
to the next.
spectrum.
A spectrum, yeah. So you got on this
Because the
big
world is
spectrum.
not blue and white, or
Yeah.
blue and white. Fucking black and white.
Right.
The world is not black and white. It's a lot of fucking weird shades of gray, as they say.
Right.
And it is because like you have a lot of truths that are black or white, and a lot of truths you find have paradoxes that are just as equally right as the opposite truth. And then you find yourself in a paradox, and then to actually find the ultimate, because just because something's a paradox doesn't mean you can't solve it. You
Right.
have to find the gray within that black and white, and then you have a more sophisticated view of things.
I think you have a more sophisticated. I think the shift,
You have to
the
be
paradigm shift.
in the middle, as
Yeah.
I say. Although I don't think the middle. I'm changing my perspective on this already.
Mm.
It's only been like a week since I was preaching that being in the middle is like the best way to be. Because I guess that would be like what we were talking about earlier about the evolution of perspective, and that it always evolves, and that no matter like what today's culture like gives us and makes us like, because every culture wants you to adopt a certain perspective, and no matter how good this perspective will be, there's always, if they take too much power with time, somebody's going to want that power from them, and they're going to develop an anti-culture to that culture, and there's going to be a lot of more sour people within that big power game that are going to want to fucking build against it anyway.
Right.
So like
In opposition.
there's always going to be an opposition to a certain point of view and blah blah, and it's an eternal game that never finishes. And the only way you can kind of distance yourself from it is to become so fucking enlightened, essentially to become a Buddha, to realize the illusion of self and the patterns that everybody keeps falling into, and just resist to enter them at all. Just how do you do that in today's society? What do you can't you go to the forest. You need to like enter the society and like make enough money to like build or have enough land to build a house, a self-sustaining one, so that you're like as far away from the fucking society as possible.
I almost feel like, if a Buddha was to walk in say today's society would probably be one of the things where the skill of allowing the emotion to come to you and wash over you, experiencing that emotion, that feeling, and then letting it pass you by. I think this awareness and then letting go as a spiritual person or as a Buddhist is probably something that has a infinity of evolving and learning. Like even after you were to pass, or if you escape this material world, whatever, and you escape that body that makes you feel it, there's still this transition from one state to the next state. That I think that's what it is.
But
That
you have to go to that transition. You have to live through this life, unless you're going to commit suicide, which I don't recommend anybody
right,
to
right,
do,
right,
because life is pretty awesome if
right.
you just manage to look at it from the right perspective.
Perspective,
My
right?
perspective.
Attitude,
And
attitude.
here's the thing: I could tell you right now what a good way to look at life is, and like a lot of people would agree with me, and then a lot of people would be like, "Ah, fuck that," and then eventually, if enough people join my team, somebody would try to tear me down by building anti-culture to my belief. And it's just a never-ending game. So like, you still have to get to the end stage and pass to another one. Come on,
But
TV.
you still get that opportunity, like you said, right? You still get that opportunity.
This is the treatment we get in Vietnam. Absolute lack of.
Your friend, huh? Okay, okay, go for it, bro.
We're gonna wrap it up here, Wayne. No, we might try have another shot in a minute, but I'm gonna shut it here. So thank you everyone for watching What a Shit Show, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.
Yeah.
The question is,
Well,
do you not feel like we're stuck in a 5,000-year-old game of Monopoly?
Monopoly, right? Okay, okay. Now, I don't know how many people out there and play Monopoly.